Why are we letting this happen? Why did people vote for this? I'm never gonna understand it. Never. And if you were once a friend that voted for this, I am so glad you are no longer in my life, because I couldn't look you in the eye. I couldn't even talk to you. These families came here to work, to provide for their children, to give them better lives. And they're getting paid with this. Us, as a Latino community, make this country great. And what is it going to take for people to understand that? I just can't.
Florida will be the downfall of Latinos and Hispanics every time. Florida is what I will vote for Donald Trump. Florida is the home of I will vote for Donald Trump. That's where they live. Vote for Donald Trump. The Florida Hispanics had a hit with that one. Y'all trash. Y'all trash. Trump trash. His wig is trash. All y'all are garbage, okay? Y'all gonna be the downfall of the Latinos every time. Florida Latinos, Hispanics from Florida. You cannot tell them that they are not Caucasian. Like, it's really just ridiculous.
Being from Miami, I don't know how to feel about Cubans being in their find out era, because they took over Miami, and it was to the point where you couldn't even find a job unless you spoke Spanish. And even if you spoke Spanish and you wasn't Cuban, you wasn't getting that job. And I give them a lot of credit, because before their family or friends would leave Cuba, they would already have a job, a car, and a place to stay by the time they reached Miami. They really set up their people very, very well. Even had a wet foot, dry foot policy. Where they messed up at was thinking that they thought becoming a Republican was going to make them turn. And the whole time they're speaking Spanish. And a majority of them didn't even bother to learn English, but yet they thought they were. And my main question is, what is the difference between Fidel Castro and 45? Until then, azúcar.
I got deported because I voted for Donald Trump. Now everybody's getting deported because they voted for Donald Trump. Yes, they're getting deported, but they all voted for Donald Trump.
If you understood that us in the Latino community, we are also upset with the people that voted for this. If you break it down, the people that are being attacked right now, which is majority Mexicans, over 60% of them didn't vote for this. Over more than half of Puerto Ricans also didn't vote for this. The Latino breakdown, the majority that did vote for this were Cubans. And if you look at it by state, most states, Latinos did not vote for this. The ones that did were like Texas, Florida, those states were not okay with it either. And I completely understand if you feel the need to sit this one out, I get it. But also, I want to put this into an analogy. If someone is drowning, that is not the time to tell them how they should have learned how to swim beforehand. If someone is drowning, all hands on deck. If you cannot get in the water with them and help them, you can throw a vest. You can put a stick out, pull them in.
Someone asked, how does it feel when you see Latinos get deported? And here's my honest answer. Of course it hurts. I'm human, I'm Hispanic, and I come from a family who has worked hard for generations. But what hurts me more isn't the deportation itself, it's how we got here. It's the adults, not the kids, but the adults who are making the decisions to break the laws, knowing the consequences and still doing it anyway. And yes, I said breaking the law, because whether people like it or not, immigration law is still the law. I just came back to the country yesterday after being out of the country for 10 days. I had to show my passport at least 5 times in order to get on the plane to come back to my country, and at least twice when I landed in my country to get in. Country I was born in, but people are just walking in with no ID, no process, no respect for our system. That's
all right, guys, welcome back to another video, another Fafo videos, another F around and find out video. This is another video about Latino for Trump, Latinos for Trump, especially Cubans for Trump. Everybody knows that, I will say, almost 100% or 90%, 95% of Cubans, they voted for Trump, and they voted for this what's happening right now, and they finding out the hard way. They are getting deported left and right, and especially in Miami. I have seen a lot of videos. ICE, they go to the courts, the courtrooms, and they wait outside the court. And when these people, they go to the court, to get their legal status, for any reason that they get denied, they get detained as soon as they walk out of the door, and they are getting deported. They are expediting, these people out of the United States. Before, they used to have a wet feet law. It was like when they used to come in boats and raft, and as soon as wet feet, dry feet, it was called the law. As soon as they touch land, they were able to become residents of United States. But that ended under the Obama administration. He ended that program. Now, before that, they couldn't get deported back to Cuba because of the situation in Cuba with back then with Fidel Castro, and they couldn't be deported. But now that law is not there anymore, so that's why they are getting deported back to Cuba, and they are regretting their votes. They voted for Trump. They thought that being Republican, they were going to be safe. But Trump, he ended up in office with a whole bunch of lies, and everybody believed his lies. And now we are paying the consequences. We are in this together. Even though you didn't vote for Trump. If you are living in United States, you are suffering like everybody else. And we'll still have pretty much another 3 years of this. So brace yourself. Let's continue with the video.
That's not justice, that's chaos. And to make it worse, the same people that are screaming that want to stay here are waving the flag of countries they've escaped from, all while disrespecting ours. Let me be clear, every single country on this planet enforces borders. Every single one of them. Try doing in Mexico what people are doing here.
Exactly. If you're gonna go protest, stop waving your home country flag. Just get American flag, or don't wave any flags.
Try waving a foreign flag in Cuba, in Venezuela, in China. You'll be arrested or worse. So yes, While my heart does hurt for kids who are caught in the middle, my anger is at the adults who knowingly put them there. There is a difference between emotional sympathy and legal reality. And I'm not going to apologize for expecting people to come here the right way. That's not hate. That's what it means to value this country and the American safety.
Hey, mi gente. If you see my face, it's just that I have the itis. My daughter just cooked a mean fucking steak, and I ran up the street chasing my pug, who was chasing a kid on a fucking bike, and almost got asked to buy a fucking car. Aries, y'all let y'all. I'm gonna fuck up Aries. That's the one. That's the one that's always eating edibles, and now she's running after people in the street. That one right there. That one's gonna be the death of me. But anyway, I digress. Not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the statement Homeland Security just made. And it has to do with those that fell under the Refugee and Parole Act, you know, Cuba, Haiti, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, right? And I hope you know that as soon as Trump came in, he revoked the status of 500,000 immigrants. I got a couple of points to make on that, but let me give you the timeline. 2022, the Biden administration allowed, I don't think it was 500,000 then, but allowed refugees to come in under that program, seeking legal status. Okay, that becomes important in a minute. And what does this administration do? The minute they come in here, they revoke it. I'm going to get to my point, because between Maga and Cubans for Trump. And by the way, this video, if I talk about Cubans, I'm talking about Cubans for Trump, Venezuelans for Trump. That's who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Cubans in general. Had a couple people get offended the last time. You should know me by now. I got a hard on for Cubans for Trump, Venezuelans for Trump. Not people in mi gente community. Anyway, with that being said, first thing this administration does, as soon as they come in, is they revoke that status, right? Now, that went to a court, and it was on stay, meaning that the Trump administration couldn't do anything. But it was heard by the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court said they can deport the 500,000 people. So now leads me to my statement today. Homeland Security makes a statement today that says this: either deport yourself or we will deport you. You have to understand that those immigrants that are here legally are like low-hanging fruit. They're the easiest ones to get to by revoking their status. Okay? Now, here's where my disgust, right, and the hypocrisy of those that voted for him, Cubans and Venezuelans, this is where my disgust comes in for you as a human being. Because you now made it impossible for anyone seeking a better life for their family. You now made it impossible by voting for this piece, right? To take away from people the same programs that you benefited from. Because if we talk about the Cuban Adjustment Act, yeah, we're talking about housing, we're talking about welfare, we're talking about food stamp, we're talking about school training, right? We're talking about all these things, right? And they love to tell you, I came to this motherfucking country to work hard. No, you came out to this motherfucking country with a handout, and you got it easy. And democratic policies is the one that kept you in this country with your hand out. Now you turn around as hypocrites to your own people, and you destroy that opportunity for people seeking refuge in another country or seeking to build a better life for their country. And here's where MAGA comes into that same ye say statement, right? They love to tell us they should have done it fucking eagerly. Then what the fuck do you think the Refugee and Parole Act is, motherfucker? What the fuck do you think that is? And here it goes for all my Latinos, whether you voted for him or not. That's a prime example that they just simply don't want us here. Because even those under a program in which they were obtaining their legal citizenship is the first thing they fucking revoked. You can keep believing that shit if you want. But I digress. Against this video is against Cubans for Trump and Venezuelans for Trump. This is about you. This video is about you. I really don't believe that Nicaraguans and Haitians think like that. I know plenty of them, and I don't believe they think like it. It's just you two dumb motherfuckers right there. But I digress.
All right, guys. Well, let me know in the comments below what do you think about this last video that we saw. This lady, she was very, very angry. She was saying, mentioning, Cubans and Venezuelans. She was very angry. I'm going to have to do some editing and bleed some of the cursing words that she was saying. That, she said that Cubans and Venezuelans, they ruined the whole program for everybody else, because as soon as Trump went into the Oval Office, the first thing that he did was to sign an executive order to revoke, all those programs, the were put in place for people that could, come to the United States and seek asylum. And that was the first thing he did when he stepped into the office, because he doesn't like Hispanic people. He doesn't like brown people. He wants to make American white again. That's what he meant. He doesn't want to make American great again. He wants to make it white again. So you guys voted against your own interests. So now it's coming. Now everybody's coming online, crying on TikTok, crying on Facebook, crying on YouTube, crying because they are deporting your family, they are deporting your neighbor, they are deporting your cousin, your uncle, everybody. They got no mercy. They coming from everybody. So even residents, if you do something, any minor stuff, they're gonna find a way. That's gonna be an excuse for you to get deported, because they're gonna accuse you that you are a criminal. He said it. Oh, we are going after criminals, but he's not going after criminals. He's going after, like this lady said, they're going after easy targets, easy, like low hanging fruits. They're going after people that they know they came to seeking asylum to United States, and pretty much they know where they live, they know where they work. So those are going to be the first ones to get deported, because they don't want to take the hard way, trying to find criminals, like they said, or anything like that. Yet they're just going to go after easy targets. And Trump said that he wants like 3,000 people to get arrested, so 3,000 people to get deported a day. That's a lot of people daily. So now they are meeting quotas. So they're just going out, ICE, they are just going out and trying to get anybody. They doesn't care. They just want to, meet their quotas of 3,000 people a day. So they're just going after anybody, even though they go to places and they even arrest U.S. citizen, American people, and they don't care. Before you can prove that you are American, you're gonna be in jail for who knows how many days. So this is what's happening right now with this administration. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this whole situation. If you made it this far into the video, please consider subscribing. I really appreciate your support. Give me a like, and see you guys on the next big video. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.